Tonight we pray completely. Shelter us with love so sweetly. Tonight, please fight the dangers from our eyes. Please, God, protect me from sorrow. I'd like to know that your love is love protecting from above. So show me now, and I won't ask again. Please, God, protect me till tomorrow. Please, God, protect me till tomorrow. Ufros aleinu shlomecha. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikavela, la 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 la. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nikavela.
שלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני העם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
Be the light inside the darkness, be the hope, burning bright into the night, be the voice, for those who cannot raise it, be the one who leads the way, through the world's darkest days, be the light. Be the light, be the light. When days feel long and all that's left inside you our darkest days, reach for the light to guide you. The miracle of change may
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Shabbat.
Oh,
We're going to begin on page 24. We're going to welcome the angels who are coming by here and saying, let all the houses of Israel be like this one, filled with all generations, people from Las Vegas. We got everything going on here today. We have our Sharaka talk afterwards, and this should be a great evening. So let's start on page 24, and we sing Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seidchem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's try that in Yalalalai. Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yala lai lai lai, Yala lai lai We have a big weekend on top of this beautiful service. I have loved working with a very special bar mitzvah boy, Noah. And in honor of him becoming bar mitzvah tomorrow, I invite up the entire family. Yasmin, Pejman, Andrew, Jordan, and anybody else who wants to come up in honor of Noah's bar mitzvah. We'll continue with our candle blessings on page 2. Oh, you have to turn up the, there we go. Yeah, it's working. I just saw it. It's working. Lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you, guys. You'll hear more from Noah soon, shortly.
It's hard to make sense of what happened this week. Senseless loss of life, random terror. Another day where a fool grabs the headlines for an act that deserves no publicity. I wrote that in October of 2017. I could probably repeat that every week now. So, this is how we enter into Shabbat. Because it weighs on us each day, like a slow-moving anchor, making its way to the bottom of the deep, heavy, pulling us down. There is no comfort. There is no reason. There is only helplessness, and there is only dealing. It's hard to hold on to joy of Shabbat, time set for joy, for rejoicing. Can we feel that way when we know what happens in the world? Life must be lived with ambivalences. Death and destruction exists. Love and joy exists at the same time, in the same place, in the same person. This is what Shabbat can bring, a moment to lighten our hearts, a moment in time, separate from the hatred and the violence and the fear. This is the time to acknowledge that this planet, our species, is resilient enough to understand that what happened this week, last week, the week before, is part of our experience here. It's infuriating. It's unfathomable. It is real. But so is this moment of peace. This moment of love between human beings. We share a common goal: peace, love, wholeness for the entire earth, for all earthlings. This is the moment that we come together for peace, for all of us who live on this planet. So let's go through our week. The rough things we had to deal with. Hopefully you had some joys this week, some things you can smile about. So let's go through our week and the different things that happened to you. Bring ourselves up to this morning, this afternoon, perhaps even what you did to prepare to come here today for prayers. Let's take a moment for Chazarat HaShavua, a review of our week. We're still welcoming Shabbat, page 20, Lechadodi.
Let
welcome the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha uzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
We stay standing as we turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. We turn now to page 34, although the tradition is to close our eyes as we sing the Shema together. And that first word is just so important. It's like, let's pay attention. Let's listen. An active listen to what's happening inside of our hearts, what's happening outside of our hearts in the world. That if we all recognize there is a oneness to everything and we're all part of that oneness, that's how we connect. As we sing these 6 words, we connect to the universe, connect to the person next to us. And we acknowledge the oneness of all creation. Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vayed.
I'd like to invite up Noah to join us to lead us in Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיהם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Let's give him a little teeny mazel tov. 1, 2, 3. Mazel tov. We'll see you tomorrow right here at 10 a.m.
You say 7 a.m.?
7 a.m. Hawaii time.
Ah. That I know. Let's move now to Micha Mocha. We're on page 40. This is that moment in the Torah. The Israelites are finally free across the Sea of Reeds. They're so excited. They sing this exact song. I'm not sure if it's the melody, but the words.
Who is like you?
For sure, they didn't sing it in English.
Adonai. Who is like you? To invite up my best friend, Cantor Jessica Hutchings from Congregation Ner Tamid in Henderson, Nevada, Las Vegas, and Jeff, an amazing singer and congregant who I've had the pleasure of singing with before. And if you will sing with us, we're on page 43. Oh no, will you grab that mic on the stand? Yeah, that's not a mic. That's a lighter. That won't help. Over there. As a reminder, this is a melody that Noah Aronson wrote. It's on page 43 in your books from an album he wrote called The Left Side of the Page. All these poetry, all the poetry based on the prayer Hashkivenu. I think that's all we need for that explanation. Hold on, wait, we gotta hear her. Let's do it again. The mic wasn't on. Here we go.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Try that with us.
Let there be love and understanding among
Jessica's going to stay for our next.
So we turn now to page 46, and we enter into the Amidah, really the main portion of our prayers together. We're going to just sing the first line that says, "May whatever is in my heart be able to come out." And then we're going to go silent. You can read from 47 to about 62. And when you feel like you're done with the prayers in the Siddur, or just prayers from your heart, you may be seated again, and then we'll continue when everyone's seated. So please rise for the Amidah. As we continue, we move now to end the Amidah on page 253. We like to do a special blessing on every Shabbat for those who are ill. So if you start to think about the people that are in your hearts and minds this evening because they're in need, we'll sing the first half of the blessing together, and I'm going to cross the congregation. I'll try to make eye contact with you, but when I'm in your general area, if you could call out the names of the people that you love that are in need of healing. And then we'll gather these names as a community, bring him into our hearts, and then in the second half of the blessing, pray on behalf of all the names called. We also have some names that people write in, and I also have a long list, unfortunately, that I'll read at the beginning. So let us sing together, Misha Berach. Charles Arenberg, Esther Batbatia, Donna Berg, Jean-Claude Berthet, Lester Boxer, Eitan Chaim, Woody Clark, Iris and Gordon Cutler, Eliana Batsara, Judy Fenton, Erica Fernbach, Patty Goodman, Andy Hale, Helene Hale, Lori Haynes, Jeremy Hutchings, Naomi Bat Chaim Ishai Uvrana, Kathy Javor, Dora Kamara, Sis Klein, Russell Kunk, Sheila Merowitz, Offer Nissenbaum, Warren Roston, Taylor Rubin, Jessica Schumann Rana, Lindy Sobel, Marvin Sobel, Ilan Tamir, Harav Aarona Bat Tzvia V'Yosef, Paula Warner, Mark Weiss, Sonia Ann Weggy, Yehudit Bat Nehama Umordechai, and Howard Zelikow.
Jessica Murray, Morris Baum, Haya Rivka Bat Ruth, David Kunkel, Thomas Kai, Judy Fenton, Jacob Arujo. Svia Chana Bat Eliana. Students and staff of MLK Middle School.
Love
does not renew all of our spirits, I don't know what does. Okay, let us move now to our concluding prayers. We begin with Aleinu on page 282. If you'd all please rise in body or spirit.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו עדון, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
May be seated for a moment. You know, I realize we were talking this morning about that reading I read at the very beginning that I wrote in October of 2017. That was written right after the shooting that was in Las Vegas, if you remember that. And also tonight is the anniversary of the shooting of the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. Every week, we're either commemorating or we're mourning something that happened that week. But today is one of those evenings where we do take a moment to remember what happened in Pittsburgh. And I don't know if you saw today, there was a shooting at a funeral in Pittsburgh today outside of a Catholic church. And let's just love. So what we thought we would do for now, before Kaddish, is not just to remember those in our congregational family who have died at this season in years past and in the last 30 days, which we will do now, but to also take a look at a melody that was written with the names of those people who were murdered at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. So first, let us remember those in our congregational family who have died in the last month and whose families are observing Shloshim. Philip Rubin, Charles Burke, and Bruce Goodman. We also remember those that have died at this season in years past whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat. And I don't know if up on the screen you can see the names of the others in our congregation whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat. There it is. But we especially remember Shirley Newman and John White, Seymour Cohen and Karen Weiner, William Katzenstein, and Lottie Bigelson. We take them into our hearts, all of those that we have lost in our lives, and we remember them in a moment with Kaddish Yatom. At this time, let's take a look at that melody that was written by Rabbi Ken Chazen and Yoshi Zweibeck 4 years ago.
In the rising of the sun, we remember. In the blowing of the wind, we remember. In the opening of buds, we remember. We remember.
In the blueness of the sky, we remember. In the rustling of the leaves, we remember. As the year starts and it ends, we remember. We remember.
When we're weary and need strength, we remember. When we're lost and sick at heart, we remember. When we've joys we yearn to share, we remember. We remember. So long as we live, they too shall live. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. As we remember, we remember. We remember.
We remember them, but we also say Kaddish Yatom for those that have no one to say it for them, those lost in the Holocaust, those that have died from COVID in the last 2.5 years, and all of those that have died in the violence of recent times. Let us rise together in body or spirit and say Kaddish Yatom on page 294. Together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitnor v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel. V'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to the whole world. And we say,
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Announcements.
We have announcements. We'll do it very quickly. Sarah, can you just show us on the screen? Join us tomorrow morning for Noah's Bar Mitzvah.
Is there a picture of him? Yeah.
And the minion, everyone will be here. Next up, we have 14 more slots for our blood drive on Sunday, but we really need you. So if you are 16 and have parental permission, or if you are older than 18, please come. Don't take it for granted that there are so many people volunteering. We really, really need you, and the Red Cross will be here with a whole setup.
We volunteer blood.
Come. Next Friday night, Shabbat Unplugged is back.
Whoa.
Zach will be here. Noam will be here. We're very excited, so come next Friday night. Sacred Sounds Unbound with Cantor Natalie Young, November 12th. We're very excited to have her. We're just excited about everything.
We're so excited.
Look how fast that was.
It was good.
Yeah.
We're going to end our service tonight.
You're going to forget birthday blessings.
Oh, see, this is what
Sorry.
happens when you work 3 months together, is you get it.
3.
Anyone have a birthday in the month of October? Please
on.
come up for a birthday blessing. Come on up. Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go. Don't be afraid.
Wait.
Oh, do you have?
Kelly Courtney, are you in the house?
You have keychains? Let's go up to the ark, everybody.
Under the ark?
Oh my God.
Under the ark? Kelly, where?
Come closer. Come right up to the Torahs. We have gifts. We have little presents. So come on up. I'm not going to do this tonight. Wait. It's not a bris. Let's get close. There we go. All right.
Still have an important discussion. We got to be quick, guys.
Okay.
Come on.
She's got it.
Oh.
So here, you go over here so
It's
that
my
people can
birthday,
see you.
so I'm not working.
I used to do something where I would have people introduce themselves and then say who the president was when they were born. I don't do that anymore because it got embarrassing. No one could remember before Kennedy. So none of these people were born before Kennedy anyway. Hello, all of you. Thank you for coming and celebrating your birthday. Let's just have some dates. Date? 10/10. 24th. Oh, that's like 3 days ago. 10/12. 10/31. Ooh, that's on Monday. Happy Halloween. Yeah? 10/13. Excellent. Same. You guys are twins.
10:25.
10:15. 10:10.
Oh.
10:16. Do we hear 10:28? Anyone? All right. Mishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, the one who blessed all of our ancestors. May that God bless you who has come here to celebrate your birthday, even if you didn't know it. That's a remnant of Dog Day, right? For this year, we wish you for those that don't know, this Shabbat, we usually do an animal Shabbat, so
Yeah.
people bring their animals, but since we had our guests, we decided not to do that.
He didn't get the message.
Yeah. Okay. Just bring Griffin right up here.
Great.
Every dog's named Griffin, because that's my dog's name.
Oh my God. Is that Julieta? It looks like Julieta.
That looks exact.
Only because I know. Okay, put the leash back on.
All right, I'm starting again. Mishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, the one who blessed our ancestors, bless you who have come to celebrate your birthday. For this year, we wish you continued health. We wish you safety. We wish you comfort. May you continue to count the blessings of family, and may you be renewed as you approach the next year of your life. And may your body stay strong, your mind stay sharp, and your soul lifted by the presence of loved ones that are always in your life. May you continue to feel the deep personal relationships with those people who you share your life's journey. And may you pursue the passions that make your life unique and fulfilling. Each and every year of our lives is an opportunity to grow and find fulfillment, no matter what last year was like. So may you find the space to breathe and welcome the future with an open heart. Through all of your days, may you feel blessed and safe. May you feel luminous and loved. And may you feel joyous and whole. And we sing,
Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet. You have to sing to me too. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach. And we are bringing back the Tefillat HaDerech. It says Derech. Keychains for your journey around the sun this year.
there's a lot of Derek.
I know, we gotta edit this. All right. It says, please think of how you were blessed. Put it on your, you can put it on your luggage. Did you get one? Everyone got one?
You guys
Okay.
may all be seated, and happy birthday to all of you.
All right. Let's close this service.
We're going to close the service. Are we inviting our guests from Las Vegas to come up? Come on. Not all of you, just the cantor. She's coming up. We're going to sing a song written by a group called Sheva in Israel. Sheva is a group that is made up of Israelis and Palestinians who come together to make music in the effort of peace. We sing this song every year at Havdalah after Yom Kippur. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. I think the words are going to come up, right? They're not up yet. There we go. So you can see our words basically. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu V'al Kulam. Peace will come upon us and upon everybody. Please stand. Put your arm around the person if you
Don't
know
go
them
anywhere. We're
next
having
to
a
you.
big
And stick
discussion.
around because we have our talk afterward. We really would love you to stay.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Salam.
Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
Salam. Shalom. Salam. Shalom.
Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom.
Let's pick it up now.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Thank the two of you very much. Shabbat Shalom,
Be
everybody.
seated. Do not. Please
You may
sit.
be seated.
You may be
Okay,
seated.
let's switch these things around now. So we're going to move on from here into the next portion of our evening. And I just wanted to give you the birth of this, the reason why we're here doing this. We were in Israel this summer, in Tel Aviv, and they always have interesting speakers for us to hear about what's happening in the world, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in the relationship between the Israelis and the Palestinians and Jews and Israeli Arabs and that whole world in the Middle East and how that works. And there was, I think it was supposed to be 50 minutes, maybe. Dan Pfefferman, who you'll meet in 2 seconds. We're just going to get the chairs ready and all that. He was going to speak, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go, but I had to leave. I had to meet someone like a half hour in. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be here. I'm just going to hang for a half hour. An hour and a half later, with Michelle up in the room, on a phone, sitting on a chair, we could not leave the room. Because what Dan was saying was not just important to hear, but was from a perspective that I really hadn't heard before because, anyone know the play Hamilton? He was in the room where it happened in many different ways. And so when you hear him talk, you'll see the passion that he brings to this. And so I think it was at the end of it, we were talking, he's like, yeah, I'm bringing a group to the United States. I said, well, you have to come to the temple. You have to speak to our people because we have to hear what he and Sharaka has to say. So let's wait for the chairs to be ready. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what Sharaka is, and then they're going to explain it a lot better than me. In Arabic, Sharaka means partnership. And I'm going to read this a little bit just to get it correct. This is how they want the description of what they do. And the mission of Sharaka is to build a real people-to-people peace between the Arab world and Israel, based on the Abraham Accords, to shape a new Middle East together. And Dan's going to explain to us about the Abraham Accords in a way that will be important for us to hear. So while appreciating the vital peace accords signed between Israel and Egypt and later with Jordan that stopped bloody wars and loss of life, those peace accords never translated into warm ties and people-to-people interactions. The peoples weren't ready, and the governments didn't encourage or even prohibit such engagement. At Sharaka, we are committed to ensuring these accords do not remain confined to the government level by capitalizing on an historic moment and the positive movement created by the signing of the Abraham Accords. I just want to remind, there is a famous poem that talks about Israel, and it says, you know, we all show up and we go to museums and we're in hotel rooms and we're showering there and we're lusting after the beautiful women and lusting after the beautiful men that are all in uniform, right? And then there's a description on the bottom that says there's a tour guide who's explaining the old city. And he says, you see that old man sitting over there with his groceries? Up to the right, up above him a little bit to the right, there's the citadel, the Tower of David. He says, what we need to strive for is when that tour guy says, oh, you see the city of David right over there? Look just below him and you'll see a man who just brought groceries for his family. That's Israel. And I think that's what they're talking about when they say it's got to be people to people, not governments to governments. We have to start looking at everybody as if they're another person almost exactly like us. I was talking with someone 2 days ago who said, we all want the same thing. We want peace, we want safety, we want security, we want our children to eat, we want them to grow up and be people that are living with peace in the world. We all want that no matter where we're from or who we are. So with all of that in mind, I'd like to invite our guests to come forward. First, you guys can come up at the same time, but Dan Pfefferman is our first person you'll know because he's the only male that's in the group. He's an Israeli speaker, author, researcher, podcaster, Middle East affairs and policy analyst, former IDF officer, Sharaka Global Affairs Director, Jewish People Policy Institute Fellow. Unbelievable. Next, we have Fatima Al-Harbi, who's a Bahraini author and peace activist, recently visited Israel on Shabbat delegation. Raise your hand, Fatima, so they say. And also a birthday girl. That's what she's famous for here. Please come up. And Ibtisam, I got that right. Ibtisam Zawi. Ibtisam Zawi is a former Moroccan member of parliament and is a politician and a Sharaka board member. So you see, we're bringing together people from varied backgrounds to, actually bring that over there, yeah, to help kind of clear up about the Abraham Accords, what's happening between people in the Middle East, and also there will be a moment where we'll open it up. If you have any questions, we'll open it up for questions, okay? So I gave a little bit of an intro, but I'd love for you to you know, Dan, since I, touted your horn so much, this better be good, by the way. If you could just tell us, a little bit about who you are, how you got here, and then we'll go to Fatima and Ibtisam also.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
I do want to say, Dan's going to speak loudly. Shomer Shabbat doesn't want to use a microphone, which is wonderful, is respected, and move forward if you'd like to. Usually the people in the front seats, how do you get a front seat in synagogue? You come late. So, but he'll speak loudly, and if you can't hear, just let me know. Sorry about that, Dan.
In Tel Aviv. Yeah. And it was supposed to be shorter, and it ended up going longer, and I love it. I love good conversations that are engaged. I grew up in an Israeli-American family.
No, he's not using the mic. I just said that, Mimi. Tell him.
I'll speak up.
So please move up very close. You can move up into this space right down here if you're having trouble hearing. I'll move the chair. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to move these
We'll
chairs.
sit up here. speak up.
Take volunteers to be part of the crowd moving forward.
This is nice and intimate. Why don't, if you're over the age of 12, yes, that's right. Oh, we moved up too. Good.
All right.
Okay.
We good? I don't use microphones on Shabbat. I grew up in an Israeli-American house, mostly actually in the Midwest. I've been in Israel for the last 20 years. I served in the IDF for a decently long portion of my life, as the rabbi noted, in different kinds of intelligence affairs and national security work. And I've been a think tank fellow, an author, and when the Abraham Accords were coming together, we'll talk about what those are soon, I, like every Israeli I know, and I think many Jews around the world were excited is not even the word. We were beyond excited. We watched the ceremony on the White House lawn with tears in our eyes, that there was peace happening and warm peace happening between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, and then with Bahrain. And then a few months later, we got another exciting news that's Sudan, and then Morocco. And I had joined a group of, call it influencers in Israel from different fields. Journalists, researchers, policy people, business people. And we started connecting with a similar group from the Gulf, from the Arab Gulf. And we were connecting online. This was during COVID. This was before the Accords, a little before. And if I said we exchanged a few messages a day, it would be a gross understatement. We were 20 hours a day connecting, sharing. It was like speed dating. It was like a long-lost family reunion. We wanted to know everything about them. They wanted to know everything about us. Zooms, making new friends. The second I could, I used my American passport to get to Dubai before all my Israeli friends, before the visas were in place. I had to fly through Ethiopia. But I wanted to get there. And I just spent a week just speaking to people. When I travel to new places, I don't really care about the tourist sites. I care about people, like you said. That's what's interesting in a place. And I didn't know what to expect, and I was blown away. And I was blown away because even though I'm supposedly a Middle East expert, okay, be very wary of anyone who calls himself an expert on a part of the world and doesn't spend considerable amount of time in it or speak the languages and know the people. And I just started connecting with people from the UAE, from Bahrain, from Saudi Arabia, Palestinians, Syrians, Lebanese, you name it. Conversation after conversation with people from it. Dubai is like the New York of the Middle East, or the LA of the Middle East, whatever you want to. It really is. And I was blown away by, when you hear about the Middle East on the news, or, what do you think about? You think about extremism. You think about violence. You think about religious extremism, intolerance, Jews fighting Arabs, all the time, right? And I saw a vision of what the Middle East could be. I saw open-mindedness. I saw people who were getting along like I've never seen before. I saw women's empowerment in the heart of the Middle East. I saw religious freedom for everybody, including people who wanted to be secular. I was blown away. I was blown away. I connected more. I started writing and speaking about the Abraham Accords in the Middle East. That's what I do. And this this group began called Sharaka. So the rabbi said it means partnership in Arabic. And I knew, ironically, I was very good friends with the Arabs who had formed Sharaka. I didn't know the Israelis. And we'll tell you in a minute what Sharaka is. He said, you have to come to this organization. I did, and it has changed my life. I now devote, how many hours a day do we have? 26 hours a day, 6 days a week.
So between the 20 hours you're talking with people and the 26 hours you're doing Sharaka, you're like 3 days in one day.
And we'll tell you in a little bit about what I do. But the message here and what we hope to convey is that for once, it's a good story coming out of the Middle East. And there is a positive momentum because of these Abraham Accords. And our job is to make that positive opportunity a reality.
Thank you. Ibtisam, maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you here, and then we'll hear about Sharaka, hear about the Abraham Accords, and then start talking.
Good evening.
Wait, let me make sure it's on. Oh, you did? Sarah's got it.
Good evening. No?
Got it? Okay.
Okay?
Here it is.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Ibtisam Azawi. I am from Morocco. I am an engineer, PhD candidate, and member of the advisory board of Sharaka. For me, I am seeing all this new dynamic in the Middle East and North Africa as a new era in the region. And I believe that all what is happening now can lead to a lasting peace in the region. I see it with a lot of optimism. I see it as a change of paradigms, as a change of approach of dealing with things in the region. And for me, as a young civil society leader, it's important to be involved in this dynamic. Of course, there is the political will, there is the diplomatic will, but if we want to make all these relations sustainable and resilient, we need to build strong people-to-people relation. We need to invest on making bridges and building bridges between young people, between women, between NGOs, between all components of both societies. Morocco and Israel had already, or relations between Morocco and Israel are older than the Abraham Accords. We already have had relations, diplomatic relations between 1994 and 2000. We talk in Morocco about a renewal, about a re-establishment of diplomatic relations. And to understand what is really particular about the Moroccan relation to Israel, we need to link it to the very distinguished and special that Morocco always had with the Jewish community. In our constitution, the only one in the Arab and Islamic world that talk about the Jewish components as one of the components of the Moroccan identity, which is very strong. When late King Mohammed V was asked by a certain regime to expel Jewish people from Morocco, he refused and said, "There is no Muslim, no Jewish. These are all Moroccan citizens." It shows how Jewish people were always welcomed, were always living together with their brothers and sisters, Moroccans, in peace, in harmony, in tolerance. We even had Jewish people who were elected in parliament, who are elected in local level, in reaching high-level positions in the states and in the government. So for me, I see with lots of optimism what is happening, and I think that through initiatives like Sharaka, we can try to, we can help to advocate for tolerance, for peace, and raise awareness on the fact that we are all the same, that we should start building things together to make all these dynamics sustainable.
Thank you so much. And Fatima, lastly, could you please tell us about what brought you here and a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. And
Shabbat Shalom.
thank you for the beautiful birthday blessing. I will never forget this. So my name is Fatima, and I'm from Bahrain, and I come from a Saudi family. So part of my family are from Saudi Arabia, and part of them are from Bahrain. I'm an author. I write novels that discuss women issues through love stories in the Middle East. I used to be in the education system in Bahrain, but now I work full-time with Sharaka as Gulf Affairs Director. So my story, I was the curious girl. I took the first step after Sharaka has invited me to go to Israel. It was 1 month after the Abrahamic Accord signing. There were no direct flights, no visas, and it was COVID time, so no tourists allowed. But thankfully, I took that step. It was once in a lifetime experience. In Bahrain, I wasn't known as Fatima. I was known as the girl that went to Israel. That was my nickname. And it still sticks with me. So
Sounds like a good title for another book.
I think so. Everyone is asking me actually to write about my experience in Israel. Since then, I went 3 times to Israel. I loved it. People were so welcoming. I've never believed that Israeli Jewish will tell me on the streets of Tel Aviv, welcome, we have been waiting for you for a long time, and which he means peace with Arabs. Strangers inviting me to their houses for Shabbat dinners, and I went to many. People were so welcoming, so friendly, happy that we had this peace deal with Israel. Although it wasn't always this situation, people through social media sent death threats. They told me, you shouldn't be doing this, you're not Muslim, you're not Arab, or either I'm FBI agent or Mossad agent, or Israel paid me millions to do this. And believe me, I don't have any millions. And this is my story.
Thank you. I have tears in my eyes. There's something about you two, Dan, but the two of you and the way you're speaking is, I just never heard, I thought I'd heard anyone speak the way that you are. So thank you already. Maybe we could start with a little bit of an explanation of the Abraham Accords. We've all heard what they are. I mean, we've heard the name, right? We know that it has something to do with peace. But maybe we could have kind of just a clear perspective when we're talking about the Abraham Accords, exactly what we're talking about. And then we can go into Sharaka's work.
I'll start with the boring answer. The Abraham Accords were initially referred to a framework of agreements, initially between Israel and the United Arab Emirates in August and then signed in September of 2020. That talked about full normalization of diplomatic ties, all ties across the board between the countries, immediately after Bahrain joined under the same framework. And then we tend to lump Sudan and Morocco. It's a different legal framework. As Ibtissam said, it's a renewal of relations and not the Abraham Accords. And unlike the previous peace agreements, these are full opening of doors across societies. The rush between, especially with UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco, signed series of governmental cooperation agreements that open the doors for visa-free travel, for example, with the UAE so far, we hope with the other ones, banking agreements to be able to conduct business, non-double taxation agreements for business people to work, academic cooperation, you name it, okay? And then through, I think we're talking about 80 MOUs have been signed so far across different sectors. And then I'm not talking about the defense cooperation, the intelligence cooperation, joint exercises. I'm going to step out a little more broadly because that's the definition. More broadly, this is a complete reorientation complete reorientation of the Middle East and North Africa, and I will go so far as to say that it is the beginning of the end of the Arab-Israeli conflict. No less. No less. And you should be thankful for the United States' role in brokering this. Because with all the polarization that you talked about, this is a major American foreign policy victory and achievement. And we are grateful that even though it was achieved under the previous administration, the current one is carrying it forward and realizing that this is just a huge win and it should be above partisan politics.
I would like to ask you a question on this, though, because it's one of the questions
Okay.
that I have here. And I think it's appropriate because of the statement you just made to feel proud of the role that the United States had in this. What would you say to those in the United States that think that this was just a Trump Republican Netanyahu publicity stunt? That's what some people in the United States say, that it really wasn't something serious. It was something so that, they could kind of make names for themselves. How should we respond to that when someone says that?
I've also heard it's a business deal, it's an arms deal, and the Trump publicity stunt. Okay, two things can be true at once. Okay? Yeah. Presidents do things to create a legacy, and the governments and the arms industries want arms deals. It is so multifaceted, and having one thing be true doesn't cancel all the other things. So we cannot ignore that aspect. We definitely cannot ignore the geopolitical aspects of what brought these countries together. And this, when I said restructuring of the Middle East, you have to look at common threats across the region. And the common threat that all of these countries have right now, who wants to raise a hand and take a guess?
I was going to say water, actually.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And I even heard a Farsi accent there. Iran and the forces of radical Islam, also the radical Sunni Islam. We don't talk about ISIS anymore.
Right.
That's still a thing. Okay.
If we could also maybe take a moment later I'd love to hear your points of view on what's happening in Iran with women and all the protesting that's happening there. I'd love to hear your point of view. But let's get to that later.
So we have the threat, the rising threat of Iran. We have the continuing threat of radical Islam from ISIS. We have common threats across the region, like water scarcity and food security. We have, ironically, I said in my previous breath, the U.S. that brokered these deals, but we also have to talk about something else, unfortunately, that is also bipartisan in America, and that's a withdrawal from a leadership role in the Middle East. And everyone, friends and foes alike, see it and say, if we can't count on the U.S., maybe we need to start counting on each other. Not sure it's a bad thing, by the way. And you talk about all of these things, and you talk about what people are starting to care about across the region. Education, jobs, technology, okay? All of these things come together. By the way, you mentioned what's happening with women in Iran. There's also, I think, a growing understanding, this is my analysis, that the countries that signed on to the Abraham Accords broadly realize that women's rights, religious freedoms, education, prosperity, all come in one package that happens to include normal relations with Israel and not being hung up on old cliches and extremist paradigms. What was blocking all of these countries from having open relations with Israel? Because they all had very functioning and high-level relations with Israel for the last 20 and 30 years. And in Morocco's case, open relations for a while that then went back underground. It's the Palestinian issue, right? The Palestinian issue served as a blockade for the region to have open relations with Israel. You can ask my colleagues later how it's viewed in other parts of the Middle East and the Arab world. I'm saying this from an Israeli point of view. People read newspapers, people travel, people, get new sources of information and realize they can no longer keep their own national interests hostage if the Palestinians aren't going to come to the table and discuss peace. All of these happened in a perfect storm, and what did you need? You needed leaderships who were willing to try something new. We're supposed to have a fourth colleague with us tonight, and I'll borrow something that he said in a previous lecture. His mother passed away overnight, and he had to fly back to Bahrain. And we're very, very sorry for his loss. But he quoted Einstein's famous quote that insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. The international system has been trying the same formula for Middle East peace over and over and over again, and it keeps failing. So why is everyone trying the same formula? That formula, I'll call it the Palestine First formula. Take care of that, and everything else will be solved. Well, you can't take care of that if, it takes two to tango, right? And let's be honest, because of the intransigence of the Palestinians, the Israelis also became intransigent. Let's be honest, okay? In the last 15 years, the Israelis have said, you know what? Maybe we can't trust them, maybe we can't come to the table because they won't come to the table, and then we have a block. So how are we going to solve this? And you had creative leadership in the Gulf, and in Morocco, and in the White House. And some people may like the previous administration, and some people may not, but as they say, a broken clock is correct twice a day. And you needed outside of the box thinking to say, let's try a region-first approach. And maybe we can start solving and untying the Gordian knot of the Middle East that way. By the way, I'll clue you in the Jewish community for sure, we always say, they call it the Middle East conflict, the Middle East conflict. Guess what? There's probably 20, 30 other conflicts happening around the Middle East that are just as difficult as the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So it's kind of taking it down to its proportions, and I think it makes it much more solvable in the long term.
Yeah. Ibtisam, I had a question for you. I don't know, maybe I'm a little obsessed with speech right now and what speech does. And I'd love to hear from you, has there been a difference since the Abraham Accords were signed and before in the spoken word that you hear in politics where you're from in terms of how people talk about Israel, how they talk about other Arab nations in relation to Israel? Has there been a shift there? And if so, what's been that shift? And if there hasn't, I guess there's no question to really answer.
Okay, thank you. Yes, indeed. I think there is a change in the narrative, and we still need to make efforts from both sides because there is a lot of misunderstandings. We still need to know more about the Israeli reality, and Israel need also to know more about the Moroccan reality, even if the Moroccan relation with Israel, as I said, is very special. We have hundreds of thousands of Moroccan Jews living in Israel, proud of their Moroccan roots, still preserving the Moroccan culture, Moroccan food, still singing Moroccan songs and wearing Moroccan traditional clothes and so on. We have seen with a lot of emotion some videos that were viral in Morocco and that really touched our hearts when we had this re-establishment of relations, when we saw people in Israel who went in the streets singing and taking Moroccan flags, even pictures of the king, Mohammed VI. It really touched our hearts. I think that after the renewal, there is a lot of curiosity. Of course, we are witnessing an increase of the trade, a lot of economic agreements. We have now a direct flight from Casablanca to Tel Aviv, and there is expectations that Morocco will receive this year 200,000 Israeli people. Sure. And we are expecting a huge wave of visitors during the Passover holidays, and also after that, there is a lot of pilgrimage operations and visits to Morocco in this
A
field.
friend of mine, Rick Steinberg from Irvine, Rabbi Rick Steinberg, his synagogue is in Morocco right now. I just got a picture this morning of all of them, yeah. So it's nice, a group of about 30 people.
Wonderful. So yes, I think that if we talk about the media, for example, in all countries, if I may say that, are engaged, positively engaged in this new dynamic, there is a real change of the narrative. There is efforts that are being made to understand more the Israeli reality and to get to know more about Israeli people. And to get that, we still need to work more about having more exchanges, to start building things together, and to be humble. We are all the same, and we should all take as our first priority the prosperity and the peace in our countries and in the region.
I can't imagine everybody is as optimistic as you are in speaking about this. What does the other side say? What are the people that don't like that they've reached an agreement with Israel and that we're sharing all kinds of intellectual properties together? What are they saying that don't want this?
We are in a democratic country. Of course, there are resistance. Of course, there are people that can be against this new dynamic, but I think we still to give time to all what is happening, but we still to work hard and reliable and see that it's real, prove, and we need to prove that all what is happening is real, is sincere, is that there is a will and that people are engaged. Because if all what is happening now will stay at the level of the politicians or at the level of diplomats, it's not going to be sustainable. I think that we should really show that what is happening now is functioning, is real, is positive, is prosper for everybody, and so that people who are showing resistance, I'm sure that they will start changing their minds and their points of view.
Yeah. So Fatima, I guess a similar question, except I guess when I was hearing you speak, you said you went back and you're the girl who went to Israel. There are some people that probably embrace you for that, and there's other people that are like, how dare you go there? How do you respond to them? And also I'm very interested in what you thought you were going to meet when you were going to meet Israelis, and what ended up being in your mind after you did go to Israel, meet Israelis, even Dan.
Yeah. So my first experience actually with Israelis was back in 2014. I was in Australia where I used to study. Me and my sister were playing bowling. Two ladies approached us saying, "You look Middle Eastern. Where are you from?" And I'm like, "From Bahrain. Where are you from?" And she's like, "I'm from Israel." The moment she said Israel, me and my sister were like, what should we do now? Because my family, thankfully, they didn't teach us to hate. They've never told me to hate a person because they're Jew or Israeli or Christians. But you know the effect that media has on us, because Israel always perceived as the evil, as the demon of the Middle East, as the enemy. And most people, when Abrahamic Accord happened, had the same idea. Yesterday, Israel was the demon and the evil and the enemy, and today it's Israel that we have diplomatic relationship with. They saw our king picture besides the prime minister of Israel. It's changed overnight. And I don't blame people. They couldn't accept it immediately. That's why I received a lot of hate at the beginning. People didn't want me to go there. They didn't want me to share what I shared through my social media. They tried to hack my account because they knew I'm showing a different reality of Israel that they known their whole life. I took pictures of Tel Aviv street, Jerusalem. I even went to Al-Aqsa and I prayed. I shared my whole experience through my social media. People didn't want me to share this. For one reason or another, they wanted to show what the media shows.
They want to keep the narrative at
Yes,
the media. Yeah,
exactly. At the beginning, a lot of hate. People didn't want to join. We wanted people to come with us on trips. It was hard to invite people. But fast forward, a year later, with all the positive news about Israel through the media, and our king believes in the message of peace, and he keeps telling the people every day. When we went and took our first delegation of Bahrainis to Israel, there were a lot of people wanting to come. Because I kept talking about Israel, it's beautiful, Tel Aviv beaches are amazing. They're like, I want
Good
to go.
hummus.
Oh, I love it. This is the debate, actually. They always ask me, is it better in Israel or in Bahrain? It's better in Israel, way better.
Oh, you know, I need a follow up on this. What? Because you said, you know, I need a falafel up on this. So you said, you know, Israel and the media, and when you're growing up, like the enemy. This. What did they say about the United States?
No, it's not the enemy in Bahrain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, really.
Bahrain has a long relationship with the USA, and it's a close friend for Bahrain and the Gulf countries.
I see.
I think that's why our country accepted the Abrahamic Accord coming from the US, because of the relations between Bahrain and the US.
Very interesting. Yeah. Shall we see if there's any questions? Yeah, Judy, why don't you come on up? Let me. Oh, yeah, let's do that. So, Judy, hold on one second. I thought I've heard that, but I guess I haven't. You know what we're going to do first? Let's hear about what exactly Sharaka does, and who wants to go first on this? I mean, it doesn't matter to me how we do this, but.
Sharaka actually is an NGO formed after the Abrahamic Accord directly by young leaders from Bahrain, UAE, and Israel. They wanted to take this government agreement to people level. They wanted to do the real peace between people and to know the other. And since then, 2020, we operated in Bahrain, UAE, Israel, the US, Morocco, Pakistan. I know it's shocking, but we also operated in Pakistan. And we have a lot of activists joining us from different countries like Lebanon, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and the list is long. We do activities like we celebrate each other holidays. We celebrated actually 2 weeks ago in Morocco the Sukkot holiday with the Prophet Muhammad birthday in the same day. We were expecting 50 people, but more than 200 attended,
Wow.
which is amazing.
20 Moroccan TV stations.
Wow.
It was all over the news. And in UAE, we celebrated Hanukkah with the Emirati National Day, Tu Bishvat. We celebrated Tu Bishvat in the whole countries. So we try to bring people together through the holiday celebration, but we also do delegation back and forth between the countries. It's like a culture exchange experience. And we have also educational programs like the Scholars Forum, where professors and doctors research about the Abrahamic Accord.
We view ourselves, we're like a startup, but we're a peace platform, okay, to bring together in different creative ways. We open the communities, like Fatima said, into different, and then each community works to build and spread the peace message and educate about each other's communities. So Gulf, Israel, Morocco, we just opened Morocco. We work now increasingly, first of all, very much in the American Jewish community, and we work thankfully very closely with the different Israeli consulates and the Israeli embassy. By the way, big shout out to Caroline from the Israeli consulate.
That's right.
She is a superstar of public diplomacy here.
That is how the Sharaka is here, is through the Consul General's office, and thank you so much for this. It's incredible.
And we have started building connections with the American Muslim community. And one of our newest board members is very prominent in the American Muslim community, a Pakistani American. We are in 2 weeks, bringing a delegation of prominent American Muslim women community leaders from all over the U.S. to come to Israel and Bahrain. And that, and aside from this, the speaking tours that we do all over the U.S., and we're very excited about our newest project. I don't want to jinx it because the funding is almost there, but it's so exciting. In April, we took a historic delegation from all over the Arab world, including Palestinians, to March of the Living in Auschwitz. You can Google it or you can see on our website. And we marched, Fatima was there, and people from Saudi Arabia and from Lebanon and Syria and Morocco and Turkey, which is Muslim down there. And we were supposed to have Pakistanis, we just couldn't get the visas. It was unbelievable, and we are going to launch a project that builds fellowships from all over the Muslim world to learn about the Holocaust, to visit the concentration camps in Auschwitz, and then to build follow-up projects in everyone's home countries to teach and discuss extremism and intolerance in modern contexts, and how do we create a culture of civil discourse and tolerance where everyone lives. And we're very much looking forward to launching this project in the coming months.
Amazing. Is there anything people left out that you'd like to add?
We have a lot of projects from Morocco too.
Yeah.
Right. We had a big delegation of young Israeli to Morocco that came on May, and we are preparing to have a very important delegation also of influential Moroccan civil society leaders to go to Israel on January. We are also working to launch a project of cooperation between startup in Israel and startups in Morocco to build collaboration between engineers, developers in the IT field that can work remotely and make projects together. And I think we have also a program of scholarships that we are building with the Moroccan universities and Israeli universities.
Amazing. You keep saying it's a group of young people. How are you defining young?
Young at heart.
Really? Is it young at heart, or is it like, just young? They have an appointment for dinner, so that's why they're going.
Thank you guys for joining.
Enjoy the dinner.
Follow us on social media. Sharaka NGO.
Sharaka NGO.
You'll share it?
Yes. Yeah, we'll share it on our social media as well. You have a question here? Because Judy also had a question back there. So you go first, and then Judy, you're next.
I'm Lisa, and I really appreciate you coming and everything you're doing. But I was involved in a group called The Roots. Are you part of The Roots? With the Palestinian Young and the Israel.
We're aware of it.
Okay, so do you collaborate? Because I spend a lot of money on The Roots. So if you're a charity, I need to know.
No, we not out of any principal decision.
We know of it.
I know of it. Jadul Roots, Shorashim. There's plenty of organizations doing
Like that.
fantastic work.
Okay, I was just curious.
Right. We'd be glad to talk to them. We're working on the regional aspects and broader, the Muslim world aspect. Nothing against them, but...
No, I was super impressed. But when you said old, because I'm Medicare age.
Just wondering that.
But I was like shocked. They were like, the young people are coming together, but the parents don't give a...
Well, it's the young people that have to come together because
No, I agree.
we're giving them the world, right? Or
But
we've
they
been
were-
working it. We've been doing it, and now it's time for them to take over this world because I don't know if you saw an article today, is that we're like a week away from global warming completely
Hello.
irreversible, right? And it's like, let's have the young people start taking
No,
over.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I was so
Judy, come on
impressed
up so you have the
that-
mic here. All right, go ahead.
I'm just wondering what you think is the future with Saudi Arabia. This seems to be a big prize if we can get Saudi Arabia in, and how state. I don't know if you asked the government, so you have a king in Bahrain.
Sorry? Yeah, we have the king, yeah.
It's good to be king.
The stability of the governments. I mean, you made the comment that you were grateful that the Biden administration was, sticking with it. So how stable are the governments that have signed on, and what's the likelihood of peace with Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, and can you hear me? Yeah. I'm hoping for Saudi. As you said, it will be the biggest thing ever. And we've noticed the change of language in Saudi from the officials and from the young people also. You might saw the foreign minister of Saudi saying Israel is a potential ally. And the crown prince too. It's not mentioned as enemy anymore through the language of the officials. But at the same time, they're inviting a sports team of Israel into Israeli lands. They accepted the Saudi airspace to have the Israelis use it, and also the Israeli direct flight for the Muslims for Hajj. So a lot of things are changing in the past few years, and they have one of the Saudi newspaper celebrating Rosh Hashanah, I think 4 years ago, and this year too. This is one thing, but on the young people level, I've noticed this through social media, through my family in Saudi. They have changed. They have changed their perspective. They felt like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has held them back. Now they only care about the region, about Saudi. The technology opportunities is important, the economy, the security, the common threats, Iran is important. So they think having a relation with Israel is more important than ever. And I was shocked of their reactions. They were so happy about the Abrahamic Accord, I think more than Bahrainis. So we hope Saudi will be next.
The second part of your question?
The stability.
Yeah, these are incredibly stable governments, and I think it's no accident. Go back to the Arab Spring of 2011. These are the most stable governments in the Arab Spring. And I think we can connect here the popularity of the regimes with their own people. It's not an American model of liberalism, but it's certainly a Middle Eastern model of liberalism. And like we said, women's equality and religious rights in all these countries. It's no accident which countries are in chaos and which countries are not. And I think, if we go back to the original, this is a restructuring of which countries are pro-progress and pro-West. And it's not always, again, not always democracy in the Western sense, but democracy in the sense of local legitimacy for the regime, UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, Israel. And you see who's coming on board, who weathered the Arab Spring, and who has collapsed into civil wars. The extremist states, or those who let themselves be overtaken by extremism. By the way, it's interesting to see the regional, reverberations of this. Okay, it's the winning team now in the region. This is the Abraham Accords. So you see Turkey, which used to be a great ally of Israel, and then went in the Islamist direction and was backing all of the Islamist parties. And anytime there was a civil war, it was backing Hamas and it was backing the Islamists in Libya and everywhere. Okay, Turkey is back to inviting President Herzog and Prime Minister Lapid to Ankara. As we drove here, I looked on my phone. Defense Minister Gantz and the Turkish Defense Minister speaking together, signing an agreement. Lebanon, which is controlled by Hezbollah, signs a gas deal with Israel, there's a new region taking place here because of this reshifting of plates. It's unbelievable.
I've never heard anything like this. I mean, in my life, it's incredible. Incredible. Yeah.
It's so nice to have hope.
Yes, exactly.
It's terrible. I wanted to ask a question about women's rights. I mean, we're all watching with horror about what happened to the young woman who was killed by the police. Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about women's rights in your countries?
Of course. I find myself very fortunate to be Bahraini woman because thankfully in our country, our king, our leadership believes in empowering women. We've had the first actually Speaker of the House as a woman in the region. No other Arab countries had this achievement. In the last ministerial change in Bahrain, the Crown Prince appointed young women into ministries like Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Tourism, and other ministries. We had the voting rights since the 20s, and we have a lot of women running for the parliament and also joining the parliament. We had the first Bahraini Jewish woman being our ambassador in the US in Washington, D.C., which never happened to any other Arab country. So I find myself very fortunate to be Bahraini. We had the education opportunities. We have the equal pay in Bahrain. There is no difference between male or female. I found myself very lucky to be this part of the region, thankfully.
Well, concerning Morocco, Morocco is a very modern society that is proud of its authenticity and of its history. Moroccan women have a very important role in society. We have a high rate of women in parliament, 24%. The international average rate is 23%. Which is good, and comparing to other Arab countries, it's a very good rate, but we are still ambitioning to get more and more women representation, for example, in politics. In the government, we have more than a third of women who are ministers. The Minister of Finance is a woman, tourism, urbanism, and very important ministries. We have in our constitution an article that says that women and men benefit of the same duties and rights at all levels, which is very hard. So it's at the constitutional level that we really declare the total equality between men and women. We have lots of women in the business, CEO at very high level. The Moroccan woman is really empowered, and we are very lucky to have a very dynamic civil society, mainly led by women actors and women militants who are advocating for more rights, who are advocating to improve the situation of the Moroccan women. We also have a very progressive family code legislation regarding women. So I feel also myself very fortunate to be in such a progressive society.
Can I ask, what is the Moroccan political reaction to what is happening in Iran?
Of course, we are sorry for what is happening for women in Iran. We stand for women's rights. We stand for all human rights all over the world. In Morocco, we have seen lots of campaigns of solidarity of women leaders at all levels with Iranian women. And we hope that things will change. And for that, I think that we need to build a real collaboration at international level, at multilateral level, to face all what is happening, because the Iranian threat is not limited only to the Iranian region, but it touches now a lot of regions in the world. I'm talking about North Africa, and no later than two days ago, our ambassador at the UN mission had made a declaration and gave proofs on what Iran is trying to make in North Africa to destabilize countries there through giving equipments to some smugglers. And this is something that we should not just hear and be non-reactive to that. We should really to raise awareness about these common threats. These are really common threats and that we need to face.
Thank you. There was something you just said that got me thinking, which is rare. You know what? I don't know. I had it in my head, and then you said something else, and it left me. It'll come back. Exactly. And at 11 o'clock, I'll send you guys a text, which will. I'd love to know the answer in Bahrain. What's happening there, and also actually in Israel. I'd be curious. I know what it was, and then I'd love to end in some. I like the hope idea. Right? What do you see for the future of the Accords, of Sharaka, and at the end, of course, how can we help you? That's going to be our final question. But please, I'd love to know what the reaction is there.
The same situation, Bahrain, like Morocco, the Bahrainis actually stand with Iranian women, and they hope they succeed in their mission, because if Iranian women succeeded in their mission, it will not only affect them, it also will affect the region and will affect Bahrain specifically. Yeah. It's the enemy in the region, and it affected all of our countries in a bad way. The future of the Abrahamic Accord, for me, I hope and I wish that more countries will join. More countries, especially in the Middle East, the neighboring country of Israel. This will help a lot of stability and peace in the region that we wish for. And hopefully this is the future.
Yeah.
I want to see more countries join. More countries are joining, not just in the Arab world, in the Muslim world. Countries that don't have official relations will probably, if things continue on pace, within the next year, 2 years, start joining. We hear rumors, we see signs.
Is there any recruiting going on?
By us or by the international community?
Recruiting to join the Abraham Accords and be a part of it.
So yes, the governments obviously, I can imagine, are working behind the scenes. I imagine the United States. We know rumors of countries that things are bubbling. I can tell you something that we got sucked into, and we're happy about it, is the same American Muslim delegation of Pakistanis that came to Israel started discussing with us, can we promote Pakistan-Israel relations? Pakistan is a country of 220 million people, 95% Muslim, and does not have relations with Israel, and it's a nuclear-armed country, and a lot of vocal anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism coming from it. And what we started discovering between May, when we had a group that was Pakistani-American, and in the group, at the last second, joined a Pakistani journalist from Pakistan with a Pakistani passport. We got him in, don't ask how. And we thought he was just coming to cover and be quiet, and halfway through the trip, he starts tweeting, I'm in Israel, and he's a famous journalist. He's on state TV. It set off a Twitter firestorm, right? Every single TV channel was talking about Israel relations. Does Pakistan want relations with Israel? Is it good for us? Is it bad for us?
And they asked the foreign minister because of this visit.
Yeah. And we took them to meet President Herzog. And President Herzog mentioned something about it at the UN, and that's what set it off. And we then, a few weeks ago, right before Rosh Hashanah, had a second delegation with more Pakistanis and a former federal government minister who came openly to call for peace and relations between Israel and Pakistan. And if the first TV anchor got fired, it was a show of getting fired by state TV, the news anchors that came on this one, I saw today on his Twitter feed, is meeting government minister after government minister, and he's texting me privately. They are all asking about Israel. That's just something that really private citizens are doing to instigate positive change in the region. But I think on the national levels, I'm sure things are happening also.
I hope also that other countries will join, and I see all what is happening with lots of optimism, and that it can really achieve that lasting peace that we are all willing to, that we are all, that we all want for the region. I think, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Rabbi, you asked, thank you for asking how you can help.
How can we help? How can we help?
So we are a nonprofit, non-governmental organization, and we didn't come here to make a fundraising pitch, but since you asked, we are a non-governmental, non-profit organization, and we do rely primarily on philanthropy. That's first and foremost.
Like you have a website, obviously.
We have a website, Sharaka NGO. Sharaka NGO, that's our social media. My email .com. And my email is dan@SharakaNGO, and you'll have it. But also beyond that, go to our social media, share what we're doing. Tell your friends about the organization. If you have media connections, we're in LA. If you have film industry connections, if you have, for example, we're working on getting the positive stories out in the international media. Not having an easy time in Western media, because everyone's hung up on the other narratives. Every time I flip through the New York Times, I see only bad news about Israel and highlighting on true but limited aspects of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Yeah.
What if we had 10 positive stories about Israel and the Arabs making peace? Or about success stories of Israeli Arabs succeeding in Israel, or, something doesn't have to be false news in order to not be the whole truth.
There was a TV show some years ago. I don't know if, Scott, you were in on this, or called Good News. Were you the one telling me about this? It was called Good News, right? So it was going to be a news program only dedicated to good news. Didn't make it. Didn't make
We're
it.
a good news organization.
Well, that's good news.
So that's how. And reach out to us if you have other creative ways, if you're connected to institutions or organizations or what have you, and we're glad for any kind of support. And the simplest thing is just spread the word of who we are and what we're doing. Dan, D-A-N, @SharakaNGO.com.
Can you tell us who your major donors are?
A lot of American, the common American Jewish donors, Israeli philanthropists.
Cummings Foundation, places like that?
I don't know that one. We've got a few federations. We've got a few, I can tell you later, but.
Is it on your website?
No. Nothing we're hiding, but no. And yeah. Hopefully soon Arab world support and different sources.
Well, I hope that you heard a different point of view on what's happening in the Middle East, especially in relation to Israel, because we do hear all the time about all the negative things that are happening between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and this is something that has truly opened up just a new discussion about the life there. And one thing that you said, I am going to repeat, which is we've been trying to do it from the inside out, from starting with the Palestinians, and then everyone else will fall into place. And it's about time that we say, let's bring everyone else on board. And then maybe once all these other countries are on board, the Palestinians may say, hey, you know what? It's working out well for these countries. Maybe it would work out well for us. So thank you for sharing with us. And Ibtisam, thank you so much for being with us. And Fatima, thank you. And Dan as well. But, it's truly inspirational to have you young people here with us. But to have you here with us with such a bright voice that is bringing us into what I hope will be a peaceful future. I mean, that's what we all want. And to hear you say it, it just says to me, it just reiterates, we're just human beings on this planet trying to make it work. So let's do that. And thank you so much for your really inspirational words tonight.
Thank you.
Carolyn, thank you, and the Consul General's office for helping us arrange this together. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, Jeff has a.
Oh.
Hold on 1 second, everyone.
Jeff? food? Do we have food? Not food. Okay.